You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Thursday afternoon. Brady is on assignment today. Sarah Carlson is filling in. Thanks for your help.
It's a pleasure to be here. And we begin right now with breaking news at 4. UW-Madison announcing each student must now share their vaccination status for several diseases if they want to enroll in classes.
The 5 vaccines are MMR, Tdap, chickenpox, meningococcal, and hepatitis B. This is nearly 2 weeks after a student was reported to have measles on the UW campus. Public health officials had to tell 4,000 people they may have been exposed. Students will have to share their vaccination status with the university by March 12th.
And now let's take a look at the weather everyone is talking about. A perfect Valentine's Day forecast. Hitting the 50s, it looks like, Blaze.
Yeah, we're going to climb into the 50s on Valentine's Day Saturday, and we will stay there through the middle of next week. Starting to ease into that warmth today. We got to the upper 30s in Madison. We've cooled down a little bit. Still folks out enjoying the ice there on Lake Mendota on our Edgewater Sky Cam. Continue to use caution, especially later next week, because this ice is really going to thin on up with warmer temperatures not only during the day, but overnight as well. It's 29 in Fond du Lac, 41 in the Dells, almost 50 in Dubuque, Prairie du Chien, 46 in Boscobel, 37 in Madison. So you can kind of see where the jet stream is, which is pretty much cutting La Crosse south and east into Monroe, where we get into that dark green. That's where we're watching kind of that divide, where these systems are going to be traveling along over the next few days. 50s, though, Saturday and Sunday. Unseasonably warm for Valentine's Day on Saturday, and then Sunday we're looking at even warmer temperatures by a couple of degrees. The 50s stick around through the middle of next week. We'll touch on the temperature trends over the next 7 to 10 days in the first half hour of Live at 4, and then in the second half, we're going to talk about a little bit more activity that we're expecting across southern Wisconsin in the days after Valentine's Day. So stick around. All of that's coming up within the hour.
All right, Blaze, thank you. A protest over data center proposals is happening this afternoon at the state capitol.
That's right. Protesters concerned about the issue are calling this a day of action. Our Nash Dara has the story.
Here outside the Capitol, several groups and dozens of other protesters have gathered in opposition to expansion of data centers throughout Wisconsin. People over profits. Communities across the state have seen data center proposals and construction, creating an influx of resistance as many hope plans are rejected due to energy costs, water usage, and lack of public oversight.
The long-lasting impact that data centers have on communities and on the environment, that it's really important to just take a step back and reevaluate, and let's learn more about the implications that these projects have on communities.
Protesters would later proceed inside the Capitol, where they were joined by organizers and local representatives who shared their interests and concerns.
This is about community power and returning community control to folks all across the state. I am so incredibly grateful because I have not seen this type of bipartisan opposition to corporate control. Our natural resources are not for sale. Our health is not for sale. Our shared future depends on all of us fighting right now.
We reached out to several cities where data centers are located and or proposed and have not heard anything back. Proponents of data center expansion say it will create more jobs as well as generate more revenue for the state. For now, outside at the Capitol in Madison, Nash Dara, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Nash. And currently negotiations continue for data centers in Janesville and Beaver Dam. 2 people are hospitalized this afternoon after an explosion in Rock County. The Janesville Fire Chief, Ryan Murphy, says the explosion was reported just before 4 Wednesday afternoon on Innovation Drive. Murphy did not specify which building the explosion happened in, but says it was an industrial accident. One person was taken to Mercy Health Hospital in Janesville. Another was taken by MedFlight to UW Hospital's Burn and Wound Center in Madison. Chief Murphy says the explosion was caused by steam overpressurization.
And in Madison, firefighters say they found a gas line on fire near Leopold Elementary School this week. The fire was reported just before 9 o'clock Tuesday night. When crews arrived, they saw the fire and roped off a construction area. Firefighters say a gas supply line that was draped over an exhaust exhaust port had melted and caught on fire. Crews shut the gas off and put the fire out right away, and no injuries to report.
Madison police are asking the public for any information about a hit-and-run crash involving a pedestrian. On December 27th of last year, officers were called to West Washington Avenue and Southwest commuter bike path near John Nolan Drive, where it meets 151. A man in his 30s was walking in the area when he was hit by a car and knocked out. He was taken to the hospital for a week after suffering 2 fractured shoulder blades, fractured ribs, a vertebrae fracture, and several injured internal organs. The victim also lost his job as he was unable to work. Detectives are now searching for who is responsible.
Voters in Madison are headed into another election, and the city clerk's office says they're ready, but now they're looking for more people to help at the polls in future elections. Lydia McComas, who took over the clerk's office last September, says Madison relies on about 3,000 poll workers to run elections. So for this coming Tuesday's primary, turnout is expected to be low, about 8 to 10%. The city has sent out roughly 14,000 absentee ballots and has received about 7,000 back so far, more than at the same time last year, even though this is a smaller election. McComas says that there have been several changes in how elections are handled in the city after nearly 200 absentee ballots were uncounted in the 2024 presidential election.
Now, going forward, ballots will only be delivered to polling places to be counted on election day by city staff. And they're going to be transported in clear bins that will be labeled appropriately for the ward, and that there are absentee ballots inside. And that's been communicated to all of our chief inspectors and our election inspectors as well.
McComas added that any absentee ballots must be received by the clerk's office on election day to be counted, and encourages voters who mail their ballots to send them in early to avoid any postmarking delays.
And speaking of the upcoming election, Union Cab of Madison says it's providing free rides for voters and poll workers in Dane County. Election day is next Tuesday. This service is offered through Democracy in Motion, Union Cab's long-running election day transportation program. It's available through Election Day from when the polls open till they close at 8 p.m. Union Cab says its fleet includes wheelchair accessible vehicles, which will ensure those with mobility needs can travel safely and comfortably to and from polling locations. When ordering rides, mention Democracy in Motion and tell them ahead of time if you need wheelchair assistance. Broadway's Tony Award-winning musical Kimberly Akimbo is on the Overture Center stage through Sunday. The show follows a 16-year-old girl with a rare genetic condition that causes her to age 4 to 5 times faster than normal. Audiences will also see something you don't expect on a Broadway stage: real ice skates gliding across a synthetic ice surface right inside Overture Hall. We talked to one of the performers about how that visual effect works.
There's this whole number at the end of Act 1 where we do this whole skating thing at Skater Planet, and it's a synthetic plastic on the floor called Polyglide, or sometimes we call it Glice, and we also coat it with like a water glycerin solution, and then we dip our real ice skates in the glycerin, and then we can glide even more.
Very cool. On stage, Friedman's character Teresa is a sweet, polite 16-year-old navigating her first crush and the anxiety that comes with that, all while cheering on Kimberly as she learns to live boldly in whatever time she's given. If you'd like to see the show for showtimes and tickets, head to Overture.org. You just saw it.
Just saw it a couple of nights ago. It's fantastic.
Was the ice skating really cool?
It looks like they're ice skating, though you know they can't be, so I'm really glad that I learned what it was.
Yeah.
But it's fun, it's funny, it's heartwarming. A big time recommendation for me.
That's great, and here through Sunday, so check it out.
Yep. And coming up next on Live at 4, we're learning more about an investigation at Monona Grove High School, where a former staffer is accused of misusing tens of thousands of dollars in money.
Then Madison police are modifying how unmarked vehicles and plainclothes officers will be seen in the city.
And we're working for the weekend in the 608. Josh has some ideas for activities during this gorgeous weekend.
Plus, after the break, Blaze tells us more about that forecast. Boy, look at the sky today. It's crystal clear out there. And Josh will tell us more about a dip for Dozer. This may be the perfect weekend if you want to do something good and help out that great cause. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
I want to say it's Friday.
Almost.
I saw that, but it's Thursday. That means we're working for the weekend in the 608.
Josh Spreiter has the weekend planner for your family.
This weekend marks the halfway point of February. Here are my 3 things to do this weekend in the 608. A long-running Cambridge tradition returns Saturday. The 21st annual Dip for Dozer takes place at Lake Ripley Park. Participants will plunge into the lake to raise money for the Dozer 52 football scholarship, honoring Dustin Dozer Zulsdorf. Since 2004, the scholarship has awarded more than $250,000 to over 90 Cambridge students. Organizers say the event brings the community together, with all proceeds staying local to support graduating seniors. The fun starts at 11:30. Here's something fun for the kids. Infinity Martial Arts is hosting a free winter festival on Saturday. Their Middleton location is open from 10 to noon, and their Fitchburg one from 1:30 to 3:30. Families can enjoy games, winter-themed activity stations, and mini martial arts classes led by professional coaches. Kids can also earn raffle tickets for a chance to win prizes. The events are open to the community. Registration is encouraged through Facebook or over the phone. On Sunday, there's an opportunity to get outside for a winter walk at Pope Farm Conservancy in Middleton. At 1 p.m., you can join the Friends group on a leisurely 2-mile trek through the trails. Organizers will meet in the parking lot at Pope Farm Elementary School before heading into the Conservancy to take in the season's natural beauty. The event is family-friendly, free, and open to the public. For more happenings this weekend in the 608, go to channel3000.com. In the 608, I'm Josh Spreiter.
All right, thank you, Josh. And boy, with the forecast this weekend, it's going to be perfect for any of those activities, especially all the outside ones, Blaze.
Yeah, we are getting into those 50s a little bit sooner than normal, but I don't think really after that stretch of cold, anybody is going to be complaining. Arriving just in time for Valentine's Day, we're expected to stay into those 50s, not just for 1 to 2 days, but possibly upwards of 5 days before temperatures come right back down. So enjoy the 40s tomorrow and then the 50s on Saturday while they are here. Some of us might get into those 50s tomorrow across southwestern Wisconsin, Lone Rock, Platteville, Prairie du Chien. We might easily get into those 50s underneath mostly sunny conditions. Most of us, though, if we're not going to be in the 50s, those mid to upper 40s. A lot of melting going on tomorrow, and we're going to continue to do that as we head into the weekend. It's been 30 days today since we were last in those 50s. That was back on January 13th. We climbed to 53 degrees. So it has been about a month or so since we've been in the 50s, but they are set to arrive Valentine's Day and last through at least next Wednesday. From there, we will likely cool on down because we got 2 systems moving through the Midwest. The first one Tuesday night into Wednesday. The second one starting later Thursday into Friday. But we're going to talk about that later on in Live at 4 because I want to dedicate a lot of time to those 2 systems. We're going to talk about the temperatures right now. With our 50s, will we break any records? Probably not. You can see the records for each of our expected 50-degree days here and then our forecast right there. But we will at least every single day, if we get into those low 50s, climb within the top 10 warmest temperatures recorded for each individual day. So we are going to be well above average, but we're probably not going to set any new records. What has been the longest or the most amount of 50-plus degree days in a single February? Well, we have to look back 2 years ago to 2024, 2017, and 2000. We had 7 days each of those years in February that were 50 degrees or warmer. The warmest temperature recorded in the Madison area during February was back in 2024 when we got to 70 degrees. We're not going to get there this year, but we're going to be about 15 to 25 degrees above average starting tomorrow through at least Wednesday, possibly into Thursday. Even when we start to cool down, we'll still be above average. So we're not going to be welcoming in any of that Canadian or even Arctic air anytime soon. There's a look at that 7 and 10 day forecast of 50s all the way through Wednesday of next week. Quiet conditions for Valentine's Day, for President's Day. And then, as I mentioned, later on in Live at 4, I'm going to break down those two systems starting later Tuesday night through the upcoming weekend, because those could be a little bit dicey, especially that first one there, and I really want to dedicate time to dive into those.
We appreciate that. I mean, we normally get a little midwinter thaw, but so this isn't that unusual, is it?
No, the 50s are going to be arriving. We usually slide into the 50s around the 22nd, so this is coming about 8 days sooner, so not terribly out of the realm of possibility, but man, it is going to feel nice.
Yeah, we're not complaining.
No, I was going to say it feels especially fortunate.
We dealt with that cold. We deserve a little warm up.
You're right. All right,
Thanks,
Blaze. Thank you.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, after several months, the Department of Homeland Security says it is ending its immigration crackdown in Minnesota.
In the meantime, funding for that department is in question. Lawmakers are negotiating as their 2-week deadline approaches.
Also, the investigation into the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie continues. We take a look at where investigators are now.
And then a Wisconsin woman's body has been found in Michigan, who police have in custody, and what they say about a possible motive.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Welcome back, everyone. The numbers on Wall Street today for you. Red across the board again. The Dow was down 669 points. NASDAQ lost 469, and the S&P 500 lost 108 points. Well, the White House sent a new proposal to Democrats to fund the Department of Homeland Security and avoid the partial government shutdown that is set to take effect Saturday.
As senators debate ICE reforms today, the department's top officials are testifying on Capitol Hill, and the Minnesota operation that brought the issue to the forefront is coming to an end. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
We've seen a big change here in the last couple weeks.
The president's border czar Tom Homan announced this morning the federal immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota is winding down.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude.
Homan says a small federal footprint will remain following the weeks-long operation that set off a national debate over the Trump administration's immigration enforcement tactics.
It comes at a cost of the lives of 2 U.S. citizens, Renee Good and Alex Preddy.
Democrats blocked a procedural vote this afternoon.
The motion is not agreed to.
Accusing Republicans of not getting serious about negotiating change.
We demand common sense solutions, practical solutions, solutions that every police department in America abides by to rein in ICE, stop the violence.
The White House and Senate Democrats have traded proposals this week, while GOP lawmakers have pushed back against some of the key Democratic proposals, including restricting agents from wearing masks and tightening rules around warrants.
They want our law enforcement to be totally vulnerable and put them in a lot of danger. They have some things that are really very hard to approve.
If DHS funding lapses, a partial shutdown would impact agencies including the TSA, Coast Guard, and FEMA. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says that he will adjourn the Senate for the weekend tomorrow if no deal is reached by then.
Savannah Guthrie shared a new message today about her missing mother on social media amid new law enforcement activity outside of her mother's home in Tucson, Arizona. A white tent went up in front of Nancy Guthrie's home this morning. Law enforcement did not say why it was there, but it was in the same area where Guthrie's doorbell camera showed an armed, masked person the night she went missing.
It's good to see that they're now following back during their initial investigation to see if there's anything that they might have missed.
Investigators found a black glove about a mile from Nancy Guthrie's home that appears to be similar to the one seen in the doorbell video. Investigators are now testing it for DNA. Savannah Guthrie shared 2 video clips today. The caption read, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." Well, it is well known that sleep and exercise play a huge role in keeping us all healthy.
And that's right. For teenagers in particular, though, both can help with growth, brain development, not to mention mental health. And a new study finds there's a close link between the two. Reporter Mandy Gaither explains.
It's a rising problem. Around 77% of high schoolers reported insufficient sleep on a CDC survey. While sleep is an important pillar of health and well-being, a new study finds it's also closely connected to another critical component: exercise.
There's a common fear that if teens sleep more, there will be less time for them to be active. And our results really suggest the opposite.
Kayla Johnson with the University of Minnesota School of Public Health is lead author of the research, which found that sleep is the foundation of physical activity. And if a teen can get sufficient sleep, it will likely help them to move more.
The kids that are sleeping more are also the kids that are spending less time sitting around on the couch.
8 to 10 hours of sleep each day is recommended for teens ages 13 to 18. To help them get adequate sleep, Johnson says we need to stop fighting teen body clocks.
Well, a lot of parents and teens don't realize that there is a biological shift that occurs in the early teen years, which delay the internal signals that make you tired. And this makes going to bed before 10 or 11 p.m. extremely difficult for teens.
Johnson says teens who are more in line with their biological clock and go to sleep a little later are also the ones who move more throughout the day. She says changes need to be made at school and home to support sufficient sleep.
Making sure that everyone knows how much sleep they actually need and supporting them in having a regular sleep schedule.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Johnson says her team's next study is looking into whether changing school start times can help teenagers get more sleep by being more in line with their biological clocks.
Well, coming up next on Live at 4, the Monona Grove High School says tens of thousands of dollars were spent fraudulently. We look at where that investigation stands.
And Madison police are ramping up efforts to make sure that all of their officers and vehicles are easier to identify on the streets.
And a local entrepreneur who inspired many in our community has passed away. We'll take a look back at the legacy of the Reverend Larry Jackson.
And then Blaze has a forecast that says goodbye to Frosty the Snowman and hello to Cupid. Temperatures will be in the 50s for Valentine's Day this weekend.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Welcome back to Live at 4, everybody. Brady is on assignment this afternoon. This felt like the nicest day of the week so far, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, it really did. My dog felt it too. She went outside and just laid in the grass.
In
the sun.
It. Let's take a look outside today. Boy, the sunshine really made a difference. I don't think we broke 50, but we got pretty close today. And the weather words, temperatures keep climbing.
Ooh,
Blaze Keller is with us at 4 today. How much higher? You can see, is that the ice behind you? Yeah, it's opening up a little bit.
Yeah, there might be some thinner ice out in the middle of Lake Mendota, but there are still folks out there. I can see them kind of walking. Again, please use caution over the next couple of days, especially later next week. The ice is going to quickly thin on out with temperatures in the 50s for 5 days in a row and overnight lows. Some of them not even getting below freezing. But right now it is 37 in Madison. It feels like 30, a light easterly wind and plenty of sunshine. We got into the low 40s across a lot of southern Wisconsin. Right now we're still nearing 50 in Dubuque, Prairie du Chien, Platteville, and Boscobel. We're both at 46. 40 in Monroe. A balmy 32 in Juneau. So really just depends on where you're at across southern Wisconsin. You could be right around freezing or feeling like early spring. Now, as we look ahead to the next 7 to 10 days, we're going to become more active after Valentine's Day. I mentioned this earlier on in Live at 4. In the next weather forecast, we're going to really dive into these two systems that are set to arrive beginning later Tuesday night through the following weekend. Some snow is in the forecast, some rain, some thunderstorms. Could we even squeeze out an isolated severe weather threat? We will take a look at all of that coming up in the full forecast.
Lots to talk about. Okay, Blaze, thank you. Right now, Madison is mourning the loss of a local reverend and entrepreneur.
That's right. Reverend Larry Jackson passed away last week after health complications. Our Tanisha Shaw spoke to his family, and Tanisha, they say Reverend Jackson is leaving behind quite the legacy.
Hi, Susan and Sarah. Yes, people in Madison and specifically on the south side know know Reverend Larry Jackson as the street doctor. Families say he was coined the name because he always knew what the community needed. The father of 7 is a pillar in Madison. He died at 71 years old after health complications. If he wasn't preaching from the pulpit, he was creating legacy through businesses. He owned homes on Madison's South Side, found the local restaurant Natty's, and ran the True Worshipers Community Church. Reverend Jackson's nephew is Action Jackson, and he owns Jackson's Yard Care in Sun Prairie. He says his success as a local businessman is credited to his uncle.
Uncle Larry was one of the first black men that owned property on Fisher Street and then on the South Side. And seeing at those times when I was growing up, seeing somebody especially our color owning something, you know, that just changes the way you think about somebody.
Reverend Jackson's funeral is scheduled for next week, Friday at Mount Zion Church, and I will have more on this story tonight at 6.
All right, thank you so much, Tanisha. Now we have to go to Monona Grove High School, where a former staffer is accused of misappropriating tens of thousands of dollars.
Eric Franke is here with where the district is with this investigation. Eric?
Well, Susan and Sarah, in an email from the Monona Grove Board of Education President Elizabeth Cook, she says they have found $38,000 worth of fraudulent purchases by a former administrative assistant at the high school. The board president added that the employee no longer works for the district in any capacity and that money has since been recovered. The matter has been referred to Monona Police. Officials say the misappropriation happened between 2023 and last year, with the employee resigning in October of last year. Cook says that the board and administration have significantly tightened its internal financial controls over the past 18 months. And Cook says those tighter controls are what led to the uncovering of this alleged misappropriation. Now, the district identified those questionable purchases just in December, a couple months ago, this past year, with the employee admitting to making those purchases just before the new year. In a release from the Monona Police Department, they say that their investigation is active. They will provide more information when appropriate. Susan?
We will continue to follow it. Eric, thank you. Madison police say they're making changes to help members of the public better identify staff as local officers. Officials say the department has received several questions about how people can tell the difference between a Madison police officer and those belonging to other agencies. All unmarked squad cars will now have a special tag hanging in the windshield, signaling that they are with MPD, and the staff that are driving them will now have it plainly marked who they work for. Madison Police Chief John Patterson says they're working to make sure that every officer is identifiable.
We do have some staff who wear plain clothes. Those are people largely assigned to investigative roles like detectives or detective supervisors, and effective immediately they've been asked to wear an exterior jacket with either Madison Police Department patches like I have on today, or the words Madison Police across the back. Well, if there's ever any question about who you're in contact with or who you're seeing, please don't hesitate to call 911 and report what you're seeing, report what's occurring. We'll respond, and we will do our best to de-escalate the situation and hopefully bring some clarity as to who it is you're dealing with and what may be occurring.
Patrol officers will continue to drive marked squad cars.
Authorities in Michigan have found the body of a missing Wisconsin woman. Officials say they found the body of 24-year-old Gabriela Gartenagiga of Marinette in a wooded area in Menominee County, Michigan, Tuesday. Her family called police back on February 4th after she was heard crying, saying, "Please don't shoot me," during a phone call. The next day, her boyfriend was taken into custody in Minnesota. Authorities say they are now working on extradition, and charges are expected to be filed after an autopsy is complete.
Wisconsin Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin is ramping up pressure on the Trump administration, accusing ICE and Border Patrol of causing total and complete chaos in Minnesota and spilling into western Wisconsin. Baldwin cites federal agents in masks, heavily armed, staking out schools, businesses, and places of worship, and the fatal shootings of U.S. citizens Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Alex Preddy was originally from Green Bay. Senator Baldwin says her office has fielded over 40,000 calls from constituents demanding that Congress rein in ICE.
There is no other word to call this but chaos. It has been total and complete chaos. And Wisconsinites have been very clear that they do not want this lawlessness, and I'm with them. 2/3 of Americans say ICE and Border Patrol have gone too far with their tactics.
Senator Baldwin warns that simply drawing down agents in Minnesota isn't enough, arguing that their tactics will otherwise be exported to other communities, including Wisconsin. She says she will vote against additional ICE funding unless Congress places more guardrails on the agency. In an interview with CNBC, Republican Senator Ron Johnson says that the most obnoxious part, in quotes, of the Democrats' demands is requiring judicial warrants, which he says bogs down courts with millions of cases. And he says that neuters ICE. Senator Johnson says he believes a requirement for agents to stop wearing masks would be a means of allowing activists to dox agents and put their families at risk. Coming up next on Live at 4, this weekend has a holiday largely referred to as the most romantic on the calendar. Of course, it is Valentine's Day.
And for the longest time, I should say, it's been sharing love between people, but a growing number of people, include their family's four-legged friends in the celebration.
Still ahead, Grammy-winning artist Harry Styles is giving Madison a special spotlight, naming it one of just 2 U.S. cities to host a listening party for his new album. We'll tell you why Wisconsin's capital made the global list.
Then Blaze tells us about an above-normal 10-day forecast with some 50-degree weather coming sooner than later. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. We're bringing you more breaking news at 4. Police in Waterloo say they were called to the Waterloo Public School regarding reports of a possible weapon in possession of a student.
When police arrived, school staff told them that the weapon had already been confiscated and secured. The item was given to officers, and the student was taken into custody without issue. Police say there is no danger for students, staff, or the public, adding that they believe no one else was involved.
Well, we're taking a live look now. Let's turn our attention. There it is. That's Oshkosh. Some ice shanties on Lake Winnebago. The weather up in Oshkosh, 31 and partly sunny. You can see the temperatures hovering in the mid-40s for the weekend there. People in Oshkosh are setting up those shanties and they're cutting into the ice tomorrow morning, kicking off sturgeon spearing season from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. to spear during the 16-day-long season.
That's a big annual tradition up there. Yep, taking advantage of that ice. Well, Valentine's Day, of course, is all about love, including love for our furry best friends.
Christian Benavides explores just how much we're willing to spend on our pets this holiday.
Alyssa Moldwin considers 2.5-year-old Honey part of the family, and the pup got this red sweater for Valentine's Day.
You need something nice and warm, so I picked this up yesterday. I said, and you'll look very cute too. He makes a statement out there.
Moldwin is not alone. Dog trainer Cesar Bautista plans to get each of his 4 dogs a special Valentine's gift.
I treat them any special holiday. They do a lot for us, so why not return it to them?
Overall, Americans are projected to spend more than $29 billion on Valentine's Day this year. $2.1 billion of that will be on gifts for pets, up from $1.7 billion last year.
They deserve to also have some gifts and love, too. They're part of our family.
The most popular human gift is, no surprise, candy. But watch out.
Veterinarians say that human Valentine's Day treats can be hazardous to our 4-legged sweethearts and have some tips on keeping your pets safe.
Valentine's Day, it's all about the sweets and gifts that people are getting. So the first thing we think of is chocolate. And then for cats, I think of those lily flowers that can be really deadly.
Veterinarian Dr. Lindsay Butzer says people should be mindful of where they're leaving their candy or a bouquet of flowers before heading out for a special holiday date.
This is when the dogs get into it and people come home from those Valentine's Day dates and they rush to the emergency room because they've just eaten a whole box of chocolate.
To avoid the heartache, Butzer says take an extra moment to look around. It can go a long way toward making sure our 4-legged companions feel the love this Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
What a face.
I love that.
Another survey by European pet food company Burns found that there's an age gap, actually, when it comes to spoiling our pets.
Yeah, this one doesn't surprise me. 75% of boomers say they're going to spend nothing, while about half of Gen Z and millennials say they plan to buy gifts for their pets, and about a third of millennials say they'll spend just as much as they do for their significant other.
The most spoiled dogs I know are yours and Blaze's, too. How much are you going to spend? Do you buy her something for Valentine's Day?
No, but she'll get like extra treats, which cost more than, I don't know.
How about you, Blaze?
More than the card.
Yeah, I think extra treats, maybe a little extra food here and there, but I don't know if I'm going to get them gifts.
How about an extra walk in this beautiful weather?
Yes, 50s. They are going to be arriving on Saturday, and I know one of my puppies, he loves to be outside, and especially with this warmer weather, he is going to enjoy, along with a lot of the puppies out there, this nice break from the more cold temperatures that we've been slowly climbing out of. So we're into the 40s tomorrow. Some of us even getting into those 50s early, and then we will all be there by Saturday and Sunday. Next week, though, after Valentine's Day and Monday and Tuesday, we start to get a little bit more active. The first system number 1, moves in Tuesday night and lasts through Wednesday night. This is going to be the one that could potentially bring us a few thunderstorms as it moves on in, and then as it moves on out, that will turn over to a light rain-snow mix. System 2 then arrives by Thursday night, so we get a brief break before that second system moves on in, and this one could last through Saturday afternoon. Based on current temperatures, that second system is likely going to be more of a rain-snow mix, turning over to heavy, wet snow. And if it continues to trend as we're seeing it now, that second system could bring us more of that snowfall, significant snowfall, than the first one. In fact, that first system, especially early Wednesday, it's going to be moving up some atmospheric energy that may provide us with some thunderstorms and maybe some minor severe weather threats. Again, atmospheric energy is what the thunderstorms use for energy. So when we especially look at this in the summer and we see the brighter yellows and even whites, that's a lot of food or energy for these storms to use. Still early in the season, and the timing isn't great. Typically overnight into early parts of the day are not great for severe weather. But it just shows you that this first system is pulling up enough atmospheric energy, and there's a little bit of spin in the atmosphere too, that we could get some minor severe weather chances, possibly some hail, along with some thunderstorms. So make sure you're staying with News 3 Now for the latest, because temperatures are going to climb into those low to mid 50s early Wednesday before cooling on down. So we have some of the ingredients, but not necessarily all of them to even get that minor chance for severe weather. And then that second system moving in after a brief break on Thursday. Based on current temperatures, we're looking at that freezing line where the pink is. We'd get a lot more of that rain-snow mix and heavy snow than, say, that rain and then turning over to a mix. So a lot of activity after Valentine's Day. So enjoy the quiet weather through at least Monday. And then make sure you're tuning into News 3 Now and staying with us, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday, because that would be an early season severe weather threat, and we don't want anybody to be caught off guard.
No, but a lot of people make their living this time of the year plowing snow, so it's been a very tough winter. Some snow would be a good thing, probably.
I don't think Madison's gotten an inch yet, so we really could use some snow. We usually pick up around 13 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a winter it's been, yeah.
Oh my.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Blaze.
Thank you, Blaze. Well, we know you'll keep an eye on it.
Well, Grammy-winning artist Harry Styles is announcing that he's hosting listening parties. This is so cool. In 40 cities worldwide for his upcoming album, Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally, and Madison made the cut. Get this, most of these events are in major global cities like London, Paris, and Tokyo. Only 2 U.S. locations made the list, Los Angeles and Madison, Wisconsin. The listening parties begin February 18th, that's next Wednesday, with details available on Styles' website. Styles has strong ties to Wisconsin, last performing in Milwaukee in 2021, and he often shares his support for the Green Bay Packers.
That is really cool.
He is very cool.
There's more to come tonight at 4. We have the biggest stories of the day in the afternoon sprint. We'll be right back. It's 4:53, time for the afternoon sprint.
We continue to follow breaking news today at 4 o'clock. UW-Madison announcing each student there must now share their vaccination status for several diseases if they want to enroll in classes. The 5 vaccines are MMR, Tdap, chickenpox, meningococcal, and hepatitis B. This nearly 2 weeks after a student was reported to have measles on campus. Also, 2 people are hospitalized after an explosion in Rock County. This explosion was reported just before 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon on Innovation Drive. One person taken to a nearby hospital, the other med-flighted to UW in Madison. Chief Murphy there says the explosion was caused by steam overpressurization.
Madison police are asking for the public's help for any information about a hit-and-run crash involving a pedestrian. It happened last year. Officers were called to West Washington Avenue and the Southwest commuter bike path. A man in his 30s was walking in the area when he was hit by a car and knocked out.
At the Monona Grove High School, a former staffer is accused of misappropriating $38,000 in fraudulent purchases. Officials say the misappropriation happened between 2023 and last year, with the employee resigning in October of last year. In a release from the Monona Police Department, they say that their investigation is active.
And taking a look at the weather as we head into the rest of Thursday, temperatures are going to remain mild, above freezing through at least 8 o'clock tonight, underneath clear to mostly clear conditions. And then we will settle into those 20s overnight. We are looking at the 40s to return on Friday, 50s on Saturday. Alex will have the latest here at 5 o'clock on your warm Valentine's Day weekend forecast. And those 2 systems we're eyeing to arrive after Valentine's Day. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Blaze. We'll be right back.
Coming up at 5, we're continuing to follow breaking news out of UW-Madison, where students are now being required to share their vaccination status for several diseases in order to enroll in classes. And a documentary focused on a former UW basketball premieres tonight. Brady Mallory will join us live from Marcus Theaters for that premiere. And thanks so much for joining us for Live at 4. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. You can also find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.